Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel on my next Escape from Tarkov video. Today we're going to dive into the hideout again and go through what items to craft and what ones not to craft so you can maximize the amount of profits you're making from each hour you're working in the hideout. Now I'll show you what to make regardless of your level, what level your hideout's at, what level traders you have, and pretty much whatever loot you have in your hideout. I go through all the modules and crunch the numbers so you don't have to. I compare each item in a measurement of rubles per hour to get so many different crafts apples to apples. That way you can maximize your profits. I have all this info wrapped up into an easy to use spreadsheet available to everyone. I'll put the link in the description and in the comments, and I update it with each of these videos. Prices are constantly changing though, so take all of this with a grain of salt and double check before you buy and craft. Also, keep in mind that as I'm doing all of this, I have maxed hideout skills and a level 3 intel center. So I have a higher flea market cost reduction than most. And one last thing, before we get started, verify this is the latest video, since I do update these frequently, especially if there's big changes in the market. Alright guys, as usual, we will start off at the med station. And right now, pile of meds is your usual most profitable item to make. And we'll start some right here. As you can see, I can still make 2 items. Not all of you are going to be able to do that. But if you are making 2, I suggest pile of meds and Salewas. These are your 2 best. Pile of meds right now. If you can get your augmented for less than 24k and you sell your meds for more than 14k, which should be super easy right now, you're going to make about 20k an hour. Pile of meds have skyrocketed the last couple of days, even more so since I started doing the homework for this. So you should be making these whenever you can. Just buy augmented and make these and make these and make these. And then what I usually do, as you can see here, is I wait till I have a whole buttload of these things and I sell them in big packs. So right now you can see 16, 17, 18. So we're going to sell these things for 18.5 and just make money hand over fist and go from there. So Salewas are also making good money. So if you're only got a level 1 med station, if you're a little bit lower, that's what you should be making. I usually sell these at about 19,750, but sometimes you can get away a little bit higher. Right now you can see everybody selling for 19.9. I think you can get these up as high as 22,000 and still do pretty good. I've seen them sell that high, not every day, but that's up to you on gambling if you want to have those sit up there like that. And then Propitals can make you money, but only if you use used golden stars. So you see all of these are 10 out of 10. Don't use these. You basically break even right now doing that. What you want to do is use these in raid, get them down to 1, 2, maybe 3 uses, and then use them. And then you basically recoup your cost of the golden star doing that, and then selling these things for anywhere from 22 to 25k. It kind of depends on when you sell them. I've been pretty successful at 22k. Again, a little bit of a gamble if you want to go higher than that. Over at the nutrition unit, there's not much making money here right now. You can make money with aquamarines, which I'll start that, but make sure you use crafted water. Do not use bought water. You will not make money. You can see right now I am making 10 vodkas, but that's because I got a Moonshine in Pestely's raids, the tournament, the drops. I got a non-fountain raid Moonshine, and that's the best thing you can do with it, other than maybe one of the barters, is turn it into 10 vodkas that you can sell, because I should be able to sell these for 18 to 20k, maybe even 25k. I'll go look and see later, but there's somewhere between 150 and 200,000 rubles that I get out of a non-fountain raid Moonshine. So if you've got other items you got from Pestely's drops that can be crafted into stuff, it's probably the best thing to do with them is craft them, not try to sell them directly, depending on what they are. Oh, I guess one thing I didn't bring up is if you can craft Willistons, if you have the barter with Mechanic for his M1A for the Willistons, and you like M1As, that would be what you do for him. Craft 17 of these things and you get a really, really good M1A. That you can use in raid. And let's see, what level is that? Is that level 2? Level 3. So level 3 mechanic, you can do those 17 Willistons trades. So that's something else you can do in the nutrition unit if you want to. At the water collector and booze generator, you run this all the time. Run it, because you can just straight sell these and not craft and make money, even though I always recommend people craft either Moonshine or Aquamarine. I'm making Moonshine right now with my waters. This one is actually non-found in raid water I got out of Pestely's drops again. So that's what I'm doing with that, is making this. Sugar is getting kind of expensive though, so keep an eye on it. It was running about 80k, 75, 80k. You could pretty reliably get it. Now it's pushing 90k. So don't just be careful, and 100k here even. So just be careful when you're buying those. That can eat into all of your profits very quickly with the Moonshine. speaking of that, I forgot about this over here with sugar. I always tell people to make sugar if they want to make moonshine. I'm getting away from it because, as you can see here, you're barely able to make it cheaper than you can buy it. So just keep an eye on that. If sugars are cheaper than 2 chocolates, then don't be making it. Probably going to start now with as expensive as this is. We'll buy 2. Well, maybe not. Buy 2 of these and throw them into, oh my gosh. So like right there, it's going to cost me $100K to make a sugar, which is a little bit cheaper than, or a little bit more expensive than what they're going for on the market. But, you know, oh, look, see, there's an opportunity. Buy them if you can get them like that cheap. But don't sell them. Don't make sugar and sell it, because the flea market fee for me is 19%, and I have a huge reduction. So it could be as high as 30, 40% for you. So just be very careful of that with flea market fee trying to sell sugar. Over at the laboratory, I'm not making anything right now because I can't get the components cheap enough. But if you watch for your cheaper sodiums and get these things sub 20K, get your alkalis down in this range, the 13 to 15K, and then your soaps in the 13 to 15K, you can make money with bleach. And what you want to do is you want to just make a bunch of these and then list them at the higher price. So my chart's kind of screwed up because we have had a goober in here that was selling stuff super cheap. But I've been watching, and you can sell these things for over 13,000 pretty regularly. So that's what I'm gonna do right now. Actually, is I'm gonna list a bunch of these for you guys at 13.5, and then just let them sit there. I have 8 slots though, so I have a little bit more leeway than a lot of folks do. Do what works best for you. Sometimes I would recommend, mostly I recommend doing this stuff at the end of the night. When you're getting off, so that it doesn't matter if they sit up there for like 12 hours. Plus, stuff like this generally sells better at night anyways. So we'll get all of these out of here. We're going to list them for 13.5 and be done with it. So there's 25 of them, 13.5, and boom, done. Now they're out of the inventory. Back at the hideout. The next thing you can make over here is with the Scav backpacks, Scav junk boxes, and mag cases. Though it's not a lot. Scav backpacks you can make decent money at if you want to stick with it and you make a bunch of them. Usually what you do is you get your fleeces for somewhere around 15 to 18K. I mean, even at 20K it'll work because ripstops are so cheap. Make a whole pile of these things and just stack them inside one of another and keep in your inventory. And then sell them at the end of the day for 16.1 to 16.5. Sometimes these things will even go as high as 17,000. Just kind of depends on the day and who's buying what. With the mag cases, which are right here, make sure you are only using fuel you burn in your generator. So buy the fuel, burn in the generator. Once it's used up, then use those. Unless the rare circumstances you can buy these things for like 10K empty, 10, maybe 15K empty, then you can do okay making mag boxes. But make sure you shop for your other components when you can and get them as cheap as you can. Buy your bolts when they're in the 15,000 range, not 25,000, and buy your nuts when they're at 10,000 or less, and then try to get your metal cutting scissors for less than 35,000. And all that applies for the Lucky Scav junk box as well. But when you if you go to buy your mag cases, try to get them in this price range here at like the 100. In fact, this is a really good deal. I'm not going to pass up on that. Whoopsies. Ooh, I almost screwed that up. That's actually not a bad deal right there. That's actually a pretty decent trade. It's not scammy like some of these are. Like, that one's scammy. But right there, that is enough to get a junk box and sell it back to the vendors. And right now, junk boxes are going for that 790 to 805. So roll with that, and you will do pretty good as long as, again, you get your components cheap. Over at the Workbench. Now, I'm not going to dive into every craft here because there's so many of them, and a lot of them make money, especially if you find stuff or you get stuff not found in raid and you can't sell it. This is the best place to go with most of it, wires and things like that. So I am right now cranking out tons of ammo for, we're getting into end of wipe, and ammo prices go through the roof once they announce the wipe, which they haven't yet. But so I'm making a bunch of ammo that I'm going to use, which is a 7N31 and M61. But for making money, the best thing for you to do right now is make VOGs, hands down. Just buy the grenades and fuses. Get your fuses for less than 17K and your grenades less than 30K, and you're going to make money. But if you can get them even cheaper than that, you make more money. So your VOG 25s, which, why can't I find them? There they are. Make these. These things are making money hand over fist right now because of how much you can sell these things for. If you sell them, you list them. I've been pretty successful listing them over 38K. I make three sets of them, so 24 to 30 of them, and sell them like that, and then let them sit overnight, and they always sell, and you just make hundreds of thousands of rubles doing it. If you're not into making that, red gunpowder right now is still a great craft. Just get your components when you can. Try to get your matches as cheap as possible, or take them out of raid. They're actually worth taking out of raid for this if you're going to make a bunch of red gunpowder. And then buy your green gunpowder. Try to get it sub 80k if you can, into the 70s. And then buy your blue gunpowder sub 15k if you can. Even at 18k it works, but those little bits have a huge effect on red gunpowder. And then you can make a shitload of money selling your red gunpowder for the mid 70s, high 70s, which I've even seen it get into the 80s, which you're just making money hand over fist there. Now, if you don't want to fuss around with all of that, I totally understand. Go with green gunpowder. So once you get Spa Tour Part 2 done, you can buy these 10 grenades from Peacekeeper per cycle, which is more than enough to craft these things. You'll never run out. And then proper level 2 will give you the smoke grenades. And you just buy those, throw them in a grenade case, and just crank out green gunpowder. And when you get 5 or 6 of them, sell them for over 80k right now, and boom, you're making money. That's probably one of the easiest, most profitable crafts you can do in the Hideout right now. It requires so little work, and it's so much value. And if you don't want to sell them and you use AKs a lot, you can turn those right into BP, which is another fantastic craft to save you money versus buying BP. Over at the Intel Center, VPXs are your top craft right now as far as profit. Even though the price has tanked on them quite a bit, they still make you about 50k in total profit. Next up is Intel with about 45k. Graphics cards make you about 37k, and secure flash drives make you about 6k. If you're working for your Bitcoin farm, though, I would suggest making graphics cards. Even though they're only 37k on profit, they're not the most profit. By the time you take into account them in your Bitcoin farm where you put them, they make you a bunch more money. Plus, as you get through more raids, and let's say you throw a graphics card in your secure container and you die, you can take that, and your Bitcoin farm's full, right? You take that non-found in raid graphics card, you put it in your Bitcoin farm and swap it for a found in raid, and then you sell the found in raid, and boom, you make a bunch more money. So that's kind of how I approach that, is crafting in the Intel Center. Lastly, we'll just talk real quick about the Scav Case. I run primarily 85Ks. I'll run an Intel at night when I go to bed. I'll find one throughout the day that I get non-found in raid, or I buy one off the flea market for like 150, or if you're lucky for like that 70 to 80K off fence if you find one of those. But the 85Ks have been killing it for me, and a lot of guys in Discord are posting, loot runs for these 85Ks, getting black key cards, green key cards, airframes, you name it. Good keys, some of the reserve keys that are worth 150, 200K. Guys have been doing pretty good with this 85K. So I'm going to stick with recommending that. Your results may vary. If you can't afford the 85K, do the, 7,000 or 8,000 or the couple hundred one. You'll almost always end up out on top. Plus you get that lucky roll dice of something big. As always, a couple of points here to end on. Don't stack crafted materials that are in the same module. Basically, the only materials you can craft to use is sugar and water. Those are the only two. Everything else don't craft, like red gunpowder. And if you're trying to make money, don't craft red gunpowder and then use that red gunpowder to make ammo. Sell the red gunpowder and then buy the red gunpowder cheaper to make your bullets. So, and this is only if you're trying to make money. If you're just trying to make ammo, do whatever you want. But if the most profitable thing to do is just crank one kind of resource continuously, buy in bulk cheap components, and then just make that and sell it. Don't try to stack materials, because when you look at the overall amount of money you make, it's far less when you make a material and then use that material to make another material, and instead of selling it. Especially if you sell that second material, you're wasting time. Also, be very aware of your crafting skills and make an effort to level them if you can. I have a power leveling video if you want to go watch that, but these things are insanely powerful. As you can see, some of this, I have multiple filters in my water filter. I can collect 5 Bitcoins, all because I got Elite Hideout Management. And Elite Crafting lets you craft multiple things. Plus, it reduces how much filters, how much you burn up in your filters. It increases the bonuses, and it also makes stuff craft faster. I don't know what your crafting is, but I suspect you're nowhere near what I can make a lucky scav this in 7 hours. I think the normal is a little over 11. So that's pretty big impact on how much money you can make in your hideout. It just amplifies every bit of it. So if you're doing a lot of hideout stuff, you will level it up. Kind of pay attention on how to level those up, and go check that other video on how to do that. Well, that wraps up the video. I hope you guys liked it. If so, make sure you hit that like button. It helps out a ton with the YouTube algorithm. Also, if you haven't yet, subscribe so you see when new content shows up. I stream on Twitch most weeknights, so come by and say hi there if you want to. And we have a Discord full of chilled, laid-back people who love to help out and answer questions, as well as brag about some of our awesome loot. So the link for that's down in the description too, so you can join there if you want to. Lastly, as always, thank you guys for watching the video. Your support is amazing and helps out in more ways than you guys can imagine. So with that, we'll wrap it up, and we'll see you in Tarkov.